All right. Thank you so much, Chuka. And very fitting message. Keep Jamaica clean. Keep your place clean, your surroundings clean. That was an outside broadcast from the National Solid Waste Management Authority's Operation Calm initiative happening at the Black River Primary School in St. Elizabeth.
When this Biggie Box, the same team and Wendy's FC every match day. Wendy's Biggie Box. The time by Wendy's is.
It is now 12:36. We are ready for Road to Success, the journey.
Sweet story, and when you're not, then the war is bitter. You're quick to call me a sinner. Only judge I know my history. So we have to give the king glory, like a tree planted by.
From Lime Tree Lane to the world stage, Christopher Johnny Daly is celebrated as one of Jamaica's pioneering television child stars whose early work helped to shape a generation of local entertainment. He has since built a dynamic career as an actor, comedian, producer, and media personality, earning respect for his versatility and longevity across the industry. From the stage to screen and behind the scenes, his journey reflects resilience, growth, and evolution in Caribbean entertainment. Christopher Johnny Daly, good afternoon and welcome.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon to you. Thank you to all the folks who are locked in. Thank you so much for having me this afternoon, and thanks for that great introduction.
Look here now. You have done a lot around here, so it is only fitting, of course.
Really appreciate that, man. Big up yourself, Kishima, every time. And of course, I don't know, number one journalist. So yes, man, big up yourself.
Right. But let's kick things off though, Johnny, with your foundation. How would you describe your upbringing?
Wow, my upbringing was, a lot of fun. I'd say I'd put that word on fun, but I was also very much a busy young man. By the time I got to the age of 9, I pretty much got involved in drama. I have to thank so many persons, but it was out of giving some trouble at school, and then I got involved in drama, and the drama teacher said, come in the drama club, and I got to the drama club, and it's almost like I discovered, my place where I was supposed to be. I won a scholarship to the School of Drama very early. I think from my very first production, I won a gold medal, got a Marcus Garvey scholarship to Jamaica School of Drama summer program, and everything started to happen from there. I met a lovely lady called Melita Samuels, and she was actually the woman who took me to JBC and introduced me to Don Buckner, and I got the role for Lime Tree Lane as Johnny.
Wow. Now, before we get to young Johnny, how would you describe like your parents? What was that like? What did you take from them at an early age?
Yeah, my mom was a storyteller, no doubt. My mom was a Christian woman. My mom is a Christian woman. She's not alive. My mom is alive. Both parents are alive, by the way. I grew up mostly with my mom, my biological mom, and then that was a good time. I grew up in the inner city of Kingston 11, right there in Little Lane. You know what I mean? And that time, Little Lane was in the 70s, 80s. Of course, I went through all the things that Kingston was going through at that time, the upheavals in the 80s, political upheavals in the 80s. But my childhood was very happy. I mean, we were kids living in the city having fun. All the struggles were just seemed normal to us. But yeah, I have so many stories of that time, stories that I have now turned into comedic routines. But living in the inner city you're in touch with everything. You're underground. You're in touch with the music, the culture, the dance hall. I mean, the sound system was right down at the end of the lane. So, when Jackie High Power was strung up, that was the time when I used tubes. So we used to go there where you put on the record and watch all of that. My mama was the kind of woman that would come down to the session and draw me out of the dance because it was too late. The kind of mom that I had. Grew up with a lot of siblings. Sisters and a couple of stepbrothers and so on. So I had a real full life, and with lots of experiences, but at the time, it was just kids having fun, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting that you said that you had a normal childhood per se, because I'm thinking that, being a child star, being on television, didn't your peers at school or in your community, didn't they treat you like young Johnny the superstar?
Absolutely. So I'm talking about two different perhaps periods as well. It was interesting because at my home in the inner city, even after I became known as a popular person, I was still Chris. I was still you that everybody knew before. So at home, that was the grounding. You know what I mean? In the inner city, you have a kind of grounding that happening. Yeah, you're the ghetto star, but we ghetto star. You're still my budget. And I'm very happy for that, because that grounding has maintained today. You know what I mean? That's the grounding that I use when I head out there on the streets every day, where I just know that I'm going out there to talk to. I'm meeting my people. These are the people that have, continued to support my career right through. So yes, there was that, but there was also a kind of interesting time for me. After about 9, 10 years old, I started to have different experiences. Now I was going to a different environment. I was at JBC. I was around all of this in this magical place that broadcasting happened, where I was seeing people that I saw on my television, who read news and so on. So it was all very exciting for me at the time as a youth. I remember they used to look for me a lot, because I used to roam JBC halls and go to places that I shouldn't have gone, because I was Barry G do radio. Literally just lifting myself up to watch him do the 2 to 6 super mix. So those were some fantastic times. So I had different worlds that I had to exist in. And that was an interesting time to navigate.
No, at what age did you understand that you are a star and, what you're doing great things?
Well, it was kind of brutal, to be honest, because obviously it was exciting to be on TV. That was a big thing for me as a youth. I was on TV. I didn't understand what came with that. And when you started to feel that, I started to feel that the older I got. So say when I was about, 12 years old, and I'm recognizing that people put value on that people put value on you being popular. And so you started to feel that. Like I started to feel that when a taxi or somebody dropping me off the ghetto where I live, and they might say, how far down may I have to go? You know what I mean? They might say, how far down may I have to go? And I say, it's all right, man, you can let me off here. You started to recognize that, wow, people, there were different demographics, people viewed where you lived, people started to, so yeah, I started to feel that early. I remember when I was going to school in a bus, and I passed common entrance. Now I was going to Arden High School, and you could feel the tension. People said, that's school them go, with school that. And I could literally hear people talking about me. And I was right there. And it dawned on me that, wow, this is a different kind of space now. Yeah.
How were you able to deal with, all of that pressure as a child star? And did you have like a strong support system?
I really have to be thankful again for the ground in my family. I have a really large family of strong women in particular. And men are, so, people that I rate as well. My family kept me grounded a lot. I have some cousins and uncles and aunts that are just real people. You know what I mean? I'm happy that I got the chance, for instance, to go to Portland during the summer. For a bit before I got into before the popularity got too much to me. So I knew that I had people in Portland that I respected and loved, and that they were also people that I had to look up to. I knew that I had a real uncle who went to bush and chop yam, and I knew what going to river was like, and I had real experiences. So my family members were very good for me. And then there were the Lime Tree Lane crew. Now, I'm so happy with the bunch of people that I got to work with at that time, because they were all so careful and caring at the time and nurturing. I can tell you that there are some specific names of people that, all of them were great, but there's some folks who really took me under their wings, like Dorothy Cunningham, Miss Zella. She was one of those persons that looked out for me. And I guess it's because she was she's a mom, and at the time she was like, this little boy, I have to make sure I say him good, She would talk to me about things beyond Johnny. How was school, making sure that I was doing my homework at JBC while they were preparing in maybe the set or in between takes. There are people like Pablo Hoylet, who was the director of Lime Tree Lane, who would pick me up from time to time at school, check on me, check on my teachers. He knew my mom personally and would come to the house. And so there are people there that looked out for me and guided my career right through up to, and I'm so grateful for that. Right through my career. I'm happy because you need those persons, you need that village, you need that community of people who are standard bearers, and people are going to give you that moral grounding that you need.
Amazing. Don't go anywhere. We're going to go for a quick time signal.
Lunch keeper Little Caesars, Italian cheese bread, crazy puffs, and pepperoni deep dish lunch specials starting at $600. The time by Little Caesars Pizza is...
It is now 12:47. If you're just joining us, we are on the road to success and we're journeying with none other than Christopher Johnny Daly. Now, I want you to give our listeners like a little pictorial of Johnny on set. Was there a script that you had to read, memorize, or you were just winging it, being natural?
Absolutely. Lime Tree Lane really introduced me to a very professional setup. And I'm happy again for that introduction because it really set me up for the rest of my career. I mean, Don Buckner was the man behind the production at the time. And if you do any research on who Don Buckner was, he literally was the one man behind all those great shows that we know hold as part of our iconic cultural shows today. Oliver at Large, the Maffies, the Titus in Charge, the Lime Tree Lanes, the Pulitzer. I mean, he was literally a maverick. And so I saw this man, particularly when Lime Tree Lane moved into the studios, create sets. Lime Tree Lane, we had rehearsal times. There were you had to read the scripts, you had to remember your lines, we had to rehearse off the set, on the set. So we had to get our makeup. There was costuming that you had to do. I watched people morph into character. Silton Townsend, who played Mars Gussie, had to put the powder in his head, and I watched him kind of morph into the character, the walk, the talk. So all of that as a youth, I was taking in as a sponge. And just kind of felt like, wow, this is all so amazing. That studio that, for instance, we shot Lime Tree Lane in for the most part is still there today. And so when I walk in there and I look at the space, and I was like, wow, it's this small, because at the time it was so large to me. I just think it was genius effort with cameras rolling across, your sound man saying cut, action, live. I mean, it was a real time. And, I'd love if we could get back to that time when, or we have a space where productions like that could be churned out on a regular basis. Because I think Jamaicans deserve to watch Jamaicans on TV.
No, absolutely. No, what I want to find out from you though, Johnny, ever so often, like even on the international scene, you will see where a lot of child stars, over time they will fall off, like especially when they're playing a kid and then they're growing and, growth is what it is. Was that something that was ever a concern to you based on the role that you had on the show and, as you were getting older?
Absolutely. I don't know if it was such a concern for me in terms of, just recognizing that other child stars had a kind of a bad run. I just know that it is very possible when you are that popular, when your mind isn't as mature as it's, as it's going to be. You're a kid growing up, your mind is going through development. It is very possible when, depending on the crowd that you roll with and the spaces that you're in, that you could be influenced negatively. I wasn't the poster child. I wasn't a poster child. I gave my fair share of trouble. But again, I was always blessed to be working in spaces that kept me moving creatively. At 14, I was on stage doing theater. So I was in a different space. I was always kind of engulfed in the creative space from time to time. And that space kind of occupied a lot of what I did as a youth growing up. I can remember though, losing friends, because of my popularity, losing friends.
Oh, wow.
Because remember, teenagers want to be teenagers, especially teenage boys. Sometimes a man want to take off him school tie and hang out a little later at the plaza. Maybe there was a favorite game shop that the man them love to gather and play at. But if you walk with Johnny and you go to the game shop, people can say, Johnny did that. And if you par with Johnny, people know which school Johnny go, people know Johnny teacher, people know Johnny mother. I mean, Johnny would be like a big shining light on you. And I understood when some of my friends said, yo, you know, hard for power with you, Johnny, because you're such an attention grabber. And you know, people, things that we want to do, you're not gonna be able to do that. So it saved me, I guess, in a way. You know what I mean? There are ways to look at it. You know, sometimes when you're popular and you bring a spotlight to people who are not in the frame of mind to do the right thing, they'll basically help you. They'll say, yo, I can't power with you because when me I'm going to do it, you're not doing it.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. No, how difficult was the transition from child star to comedian?
Listen, that went through a process. But to be fair, let me tell you that process, right? There was a period in my creative life when theater at the time, I felt like I needed to challenge myself a little bit more. And there was a period when I was working with we were a trio. There was three of us, myself, Mark Danvers, if you remember Mark Danvers was Ratty in Third World Cup. And then there's Donald / Anderson, who is now Slash, the singer. And we formed a group called PAC, Professional Actors Committed, mainly because we felt like what was being offered to us as roles, as young actors with a lot of talent, they weren't much coming to us. You know what I mean? We're getting some side roles here and there, and we felt like we needed to showcase ourselves. So we created that group. And from PAC, we started doing skits, and we did get some corporate jobs, and we really did some good work. When Mark decided to migrate, the group came only to a duo. And myself and Slash really did some work as Iceman and Johnny. If you remember, there was a duo called Iceman and Johnny doing comedy at the time, and we did very, very well as well. Slash decided to become Slash and do music. And there was a period there that I felt alone. I felt like, wow, I'm left here. I'm not going to give up all the goodwill that I had developed, to be known as an actor, comedic actor, and a performer on stage. And so I started to pursue stand-up comedy. I was influenced by what I was also seeing on HBO, Comic View, all of these things coming from the North. And so I started to pursue it, and I really was terrible at it. I remember doing a particular show performance and going home and just crying because
Oh, wow.
no, for real, because it's painful as a comic when your job is to make people laugh and they don't laugh. And I was also so young at the time, going through transition from doing skit comedy with my friends. Now I'm solo, and I really lacked understanding as to what I was supposed to deliver. There wasn't much. I didn't feel like I knew exactly what I was doing. So thankfully, there's some folks out there, big ups to people like Bobby Finzi Smith, big ups to Blacker Ellis, big ups to other comics in the game, along with, my own research and my own hard work at trying to find my voice, trying to find what am I really supposed to do here? Yeah. And I made those discoveries, and that really propelled who I am today.
Was there ever a moment during that period where, you kind of felt like, should I pivot? Should I try something else?
Absolutely. I mean, it was that bad. Like, I felt like, no, maybe I'm just going to look at work and just doing this thing. No, it was that bad, because when you're passionate and you care about, I was always a great performer. I had so much success already as a successful award-winning actor already. I felt like maybe I should have go back to the acting stage and forget about the stand-up thing, because I was comfortable there. People knew me as an actor. But I really wanted to tell my own story. I really wanted to write my own sets. I really wanted to stand on stage and deliver and say some things that might matter to people or just make people laugh outright and get stupid. And, when I started making inroads, when I started hearing my own voice, when I started understanding what being a stand-up comic really means, or really is, I fell in love. I just couldn't turn back from that journey at all.
One of the things with the pursuit, as it relates to even being a comedian or an actor, it comes with a lot of rejection before you get your yeses and that type of thing. What role did rejection play in shaping your confidence?
Absolutely, you're so right. Rejection is a part of the game. And when you're an actor, and I'm happy I was an actor first, you start you get that early. You know, you get the rejection early because the director will say to you, say the line, you say the line, a particular way. He says no, and the way you said it, the way you interpret it is totally wrong. You know, go back and say it again, and you're torn down as an actor before you're built up, oftentimes, and you learn to hear the word no often. I remember, for instance, and I remember, I remember when I auditioned for a very popular movie. What was it again? The one this Stella got her groove back. And
Oh, wow.
I got a role in how Stella got her groove back. And I was flown down to Montego Bay on plane and thing, you know what I mean? And myself and Lisa Hanna, the lovely Lisa Hanna and Paul Campbell, you know, we were traveling together. And Kishima got to the set, and I got my slides, got my lines, and my scene was set and everything.
Yes.
And I remember a particular day when, you know, myself, Lisa, and Paul were just coming down the stairs, and the director was looking up to greet us. And I saw a glee in the director's eye when he saw Lisa Hanna. Just a small glee, you know, it's something go ping.
Yeah.
Like a cartoon. And listen, everything changed for me after that. I remember being put on makeup on me the day, put in a costume, and I was sitting there waiting to go and deliver my lines until somebody walked over and said, "Oh, Mr. Daly, we're so sorry. The director made some changes, and we're not going to require your services.
Oh,
You'll
wow.
still be paid. You'll still be paid for the time, but you know, yeah."
Yeah.
And so nobody not gonna see me that the movie, there, my dear, because
Oh, wow.
yeah, Miss Hannah got my lines, but that was as part of the experience. And when you live through that, plus some no's, it helps you. It helps you to grow. It helps you to fuel. If you're determined to make it in this business, then some of those no's, you try to turn them into yeses.
Yeah. On that note, we're going to break for Cash Pot. We have to say yes to Cash Pot. So don't go anywhere. Stick and stay.
Oxymaster make everything cleaner.
The time by Oxymaster, the stain blaster, is...
It is now 12:59. We're standing by. Listen up. Your top draw dollars, pick 2, pick 3, pick 4, hot pick, and Cash Pot lunchtime draws up next.
While driving through Jamaica, there's only one radio station I listen to, Irie FM.
Reggae Radio, Irie FM.
Victory. When you're winning, it's a sweet story. And when you're not, then the war is bitter. You're quick to call me a sinner. Only Jaja know my history. So we have to give the king glory. Like a tree planted by the river.
Welcome to the official live drawing of the Supreme Ventures Lottery Games. This could be your lucky day. Get your tickets out and let the games begin.
Good afternoon. It's Thursday, June 18, 2026. I'm Timon and welcome to this afternoon's live Supreme Ventures lunchtime game draw. Before we begin, here's a quick look at our mid-morning winning numbers. Do remember that all live draws are supervised by the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Commission and observed by our independent auditing firm, PwC. And now let's put some money in your top draw. This afternoon's jackpot is all of $600,000. So here now, you're winning top draw numbers. And the first top draw number coming your way is the number 22. Or second number to make its way up and down is ball number 6. Following 6, what will it be? It's the number 12. And here comes a countdown to the number 11. And the final number for all of $600,000 is the number 13. And now let's make you play with or dollars game. I hope you're feeling lucky. Here we go. And we kick things off with our first dollars number. It is a golden 32. Our second number to make its way down is a number 29. And next in line we have the number 25. Here comes ball number 6 as well as the number 14. Now taking us halfway there, what's it going to be? It's the number 19. And following 19, we have the number 35. Here comes the number 28, and making his way down slowly but surely is ball number 4. What's next? We have the number 13, followed by a solid number 20, and we wrap things up with the number 3. And now, some easy winnings with our pick 2 games, so get those tickets out and let's play. And our first winning pick 2 number is 18, or second number, it is the number 17. So once again, the winning pick 2 numbers are 18 and the number 17. Up next, the game you can play all of 3 ways. It is a pick 3 game, so keep those tickets out and good luck to you. 9 is our first pick 3 number, or second number. It's the number 4, and our third and final pick 3 number, it is the number 5. So once again, the winning pick 3 numbers are 9, 4, and the number 5. It is now time to turn up your winnings. Let's get ready for pick 4. And our first winning pick 4 number is the number 9. Or second number, what will it be? It's 0. And our third pick 4 number, here it comes. It is coming right up, and it's the number 7. And our fourth and final pick 4 number, it is 0. So once again, the winning pick 4 numbers are 9, 0, 7, and 0. Now this one, easy for win. So what do you say we heat things up with Hot Pick? And our winning Hot Pick number, it is the number 7. So congratulations to all our Hot Pick winners. Again, the winning number is 7. Now to all Cashbot lovers, you know you live to play it, but can you win it? Get ready to be a big Cashbot winner, and let's see what the winning Cashbot number will be. And this afternoon's winning Cashbot number for our lunchtime game, it is the number 27, and the lucky mark is Big Fire. And now let's mega those winnings, and good luck. Here we go, and a mega ball has been selected. And it's now time for the big one, the monster winning. So good luck once more. What will it be? And the balls are bubbling. And a monster ball has been selected. And now let's take a look at this afternoon's winning numbers. And of course, congratulations to everyone who won. Now the second Super Lotto jackpot hit for 2026 of $258.5 million was won on June 16. Now the ticket was purchased in St. Elizabeth with the winning numbers 6, 12, 14, 18, 21, and the Super Bowl number is 2. So check your tickets to see if you are the new super millionaire. And of course, join us again at 3 p.m. for more games you love to play. I'm Timon. Have a supreme afternoon.
Hope you were a big winner. Play your favorite Supreme Ventures games every day and tune in for our live draw 6 times a day at 8:30 a.m., 10:30 a.m., 1 p.m., 3 p.m., 5 p.m., and 8:25 p.m. on this station. Supreme Ventures, making winners every day.
That was the lunchtime top draw dollars, pick 2, pick 3, pick 4, hot pick, and cash pot draws. Congratulations to all of today's winners. Join us again at 3 p.m. for another chance to win in hot pick and cash pot special pot draws. If you're just joining us, we are on the road to success, and we're journeying with none other than Christopher Johnny Daly. Before the cash pot break, Johnny, you were talking to us about, being rejected. Now, how do you bounce back from that type of rejection? And is it difficult to kind of, pull yourself back up?
Like I said, for me, because I started my career so early, and because I went through this process of, again, rejection from early, I kind of built up what we call, personal turbidity, as Jamaicans say, thick skin. I got to understand that it kind of comes with the space. And also the people that inspired me weren't people who are perfect. They're people who I saw that they went through the same kind of rejection as well. And then the space kind of sets you up for that. So, some of them will hurt. Like I can tell you that there's some characters or them sometimes you want to be in a particular production, or you want to, you want to be included in something and in a particular show, and you don't get the opportunity. When you're younger, you kind of feel like, man, I wish I could do it. As I've gotten older, I've come to understand that, sometimes the no's are perhaps the best things that can happen to you. Sometimes sometimes you're being saved from a particular situation because you're not included sometimes. Sometimes when people don't call you for certain jobs, it's a blessing because you weren't meant for that space. You might not get that job, but another job that is meant for you is happening on the very same day at the same time with a better paycheck coming to you. So as I've gotten older, I've come to understand that, hey, some things the universe has saved you from, and some things definitely you deserve. You get what you deserve. You get what you put in.
What do you think about the local film industry, and how do you think it can improve?
That's a great question. I think our local film industry suffers from an atmosphere of total inclusion. I think that, we have a lot of great people out here in the film industry, a lot of people who can do the work, a lot of knowledgeable people. Somehow, I think we have not yet been able to mobilize all of that knowledge, all of that practical skill into developing and churning out more films often enough. I do see a lot of movement happening in the space right now, and I have to big up particularly the females in film. I noticed that a lot of females in film are doing a lot of good work. And we have some really great female filmmakers, top class, world class filmmakers. And so big them up because they're pushing the envelope for Jamaica. I see the work happening from the lab, for instance. I'm very pleased to see that there is a movement from that organization to churn out more films. I really just want to see the environment being fostered more. I think the environment needs assistance. And when I say that, I mean, I know the powers that be will tell you, but we have given up $1 billion towards this, or we've had the Jam Pro supporting this. But there needs to be a lot more support, more support from the powers that be to assist with making it easier for people who are interested to come and do filming in Jamaica, or for us locals to be given a chance to make a film. We big up to people like Cornelius Grant, that we're a fellow actor of mine, a colleague of mine. And I watch the work and the effort that people like Cornelius on his level as an actor, producer, and a budding filmmaker. I look at the work he's doing and I'm saying, why? It takes people like that. Because without that kind of sacrifice, a lot of what's happening on a lower level would not be happening. So I really applaud the people who are in film. It's not easy.
Have you ever landed a role that really challenged you and put you in a space where, you have to talk to yourself? Come on, Johnny, get it right.
I love that answer. Yes, I've had many roles like that, both in theater and I won't say many on film, but the movie that I starred in called Kingston Paradise, I think gave me a lot of challenge for so many reasons. But Kingston Paradise came at a time when I felt I needed something like that, and it came. And that production was very low budget, but we were working with some hardworking filmmakers. And what the challenge was, to play this character and to be true to him without any semblance of Johnny-ism being in there. And this guy was supposed to be a hustler, taxi driver. I used to grow up downtown, who know the streets and the inner city. So I had to draw on some of my knowledge from, growing up in the inner city. But also I spent a lot of time just chilling on the corner downtown. One of the things that I literally spent time sitting down on the piazza with people downtown Kingston, in Southside, and built a lot of nice relationships. People that chat to me and tell me a bag of things about all the space tea and and just they're there, you there, my tear up shots and my no shoes, and that was a lot of research for me. But that was a lot of challenge. I remember doing a play called but it's well I don't remember because I won a best actor award for this place. I shouldn't remember
You
the
need
name.
to remember.
Basil Dawkins. For Better or Worse is the name of the play. And Basil challenged me in that play because I had to play an emasculated father of two girls. And that production was a real challenge for me. And it took me through some levels of catharsis, and I had to just deal with some issues. And I'm happy that those roles come to you sometimes as a human being, but as an actor, you get a chance to really pull on some of your own personal experiences. And that role was a big one for me. Yeah.
Wow. No, you have been in the industry before social media era. What are your thoughts on, comedians who are now using social media as a primary tool to build and expand their craft?
Listen, social media is a great space. It is the new space. You can't go around social media now especially if you're a young comic and you're coming through and you want to grab the attention of the audience, the people that's out there. You want people to see your work. Social media is a great tool for that. But it's also a space that if you use it incorrectly, if you come at the space the wrong way, I think it can be a curse as well. You know what I mean? So you have to decide what it is that you want from the space and how you're going to use it. But it certainly has proven to be a great space for people who understand how to manipulate it and to get their careers started or to get it out there.
On the note of social media, I actually shared a clip from an interview I did last Thursday with Major Hype. And, you would have called him out on 2 points. But before we get into it, I'm actually going to play the clip that I shared to Instagram and then, find out from you what exactly, you had an issue with. So let's listen to this replay. Speaking of togetherness too, comedy has sparked a big controversy recently in the US, right? After some of the biggest comics came together for Kevin Hart's Netflix roast. Could you foresee, Major Hype, our top comedians like yourself collaborate for a similar format? I don't know, probably call it Caribbean roast or fry.
Well, there is not enough unification among comedians in the Caribbean. So I wouldn't see that happening, right?
Wow.
Yeah, and that's just the truth of the matter, right? For me, I've done a roast for Marshall Montano, right? For his birthday. I think it was his 50th birthday. We did a roast, a live roast. There was me, Afian Crockett, Russell Peters, and a few other people, and we did a roast for Marshall Montano, right? But as far as bringing the Caribbean comedians together, to me, there's just a lot of animosity. There's a lot of bad mind. There's a lot of just segregation as far as Caribbean comedians is concerned. Me personally, I would like to think that I'm good with majority of the people. I have no problem with Christopher Johnny Daly. I have no problem with Duck Dan Shepherd. I have no problem with Pretty Boy Floyd. I have no problem with Junior Lee in Trinidad. I have no problem with Samson. I have no problem with nobody because, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I am my own competition. You understand? I get up and try to beat myself on a daily basis. I don't worry about nobody else and nobody else's content and what they might do and how they might do things. I do things my way, Major Hype way, and I continue to stay on the path that God has chosen me to be on. So I don't really have a problem with nobody unless issues like those arise. Then we have an issue.
Sorry, I'm not hearing you, Kishima.
Oh, are you hearing me now? Sorry.
I'm hearing you now.
Okay. So hearing that clip from Major Hype, what exactly from that statement did you, found upsetting or concerning?
Yeah, well, definitely I found 2 points concerning. And as you said, I literally reached out in Messenger and responded to that directly to Major. Listen, when Major Hype uses his large platform to say that there is too much bad mind and disunity among Caribbean comedians, what kind of message is that sending to the rest of the world? What kind of message does that send to producers, people who are interested to work with Caribbean comedians? It sends a negative message. It tells them that we are somehow immature and not ready enough. We're not able to even solve some petty issues to come together and do a show. That's not representative of who we are. And I will rebuke and rebuff anybody who tries to paint that picture of Caribbean comics. I'm speaking with a level of authority as a Caribbean comic because I travel the Caribbean on a regular basis. I was just in St. Kitts and Nevis this year. Late last year, I was in Barbados for Carifesta doing stand-up comedy with other Caribbean comedians. I met Junior Lee in Barbados last year, and that was great vibes. I was with Alan the Entertainer. I was with Chris Gopal from Guyana, Rachel Price from Trinidad and Tobago. I've been working in this space before there was social media comedians in the space. So I'm coming from a space where I'm working on stages with people, greats, veterans like Tommy Josephs. I have a track record of being on shows with other Caribbean comedians. I just don't know, maybe from Major's perspective, that's how he views Caribbean comedy. But I can tell you, as a Caribbean comic in a WhatsApp group with Caribbean comedians, as a promoter of stand-up comedy, I book Caribbean comics to come to Jamaica. I don't deal with that. That's not a part of what we talk about. We're trying to integrate and to get more comedy done in the Caribbean with a mixture of Caribbean comedians. So that impression really didn't sit well with me, Kashima. So I had to say something. I had to stand up and say, no, you from where you sit, Major, cannot negatively paint Caribbean comedians as people who are not unified and can't work together.
I hear you. I hear you stating that clearly in saying that, based on the magnitude of his platform, you felt like if he should not have said something like that. But what if that is his reality? Like that is his POV based on his personal experience.
Driven from what? Driven from his personal experience with other Caribbean comics. Who are those comics? He mentioned that he is good with me. He is good with Dufton Shepherd. He is good with Bossy Boy Floyd. Is he insinuating that we're somehow not good with him? That he doesn't get the same energy reciprocated to his side? That would be false too, because there's no animosity or bad mind coming from any of us towards Major Hype. I can tell you that.
I actually got a different perspective, to be honest, Johnny. Like when he said that initially, I took that as a big up towards Christopher Johnny Daly and a big up for Dufton Shepherd and a big up for Pretty Boy Floyd, as in people who, he's good with.
Was it?
Yeah, that's my takeaway from it.
It wasn't clear to me, and it wasn't clear to some other persons who I shared the clip with. Remember, this is not the first time he's calling my name in a clip either. It's not the first time that he's making reference to us in a clip. Now, again, let me just state for the record, there's no animosity between myself and Major Hype that I know about. None. And if he can go on record and try to find something, then please do so. But there's none. But he was on record in a rant going off recently. I don't remember how recent it was. And he specifically named another comic from the Caribbean who is doing well right now, Dale Elliott. And he went off on Dale. Within that rant, he kept saying that he's not afraid of any other comic and he's not afraid to go on stage with any other comic. And that's when we were mentioned as well, the Chris Daly's and the Dufton Shepherds. And I mean, nobody's afraid to go on stage with Major Hype. I've been on several stages with Major Hype, you know what I mean, as a comic, doing my job. The point is, as a stand-up comedian, you want to be on the stage with the best comics. You want to be among the upper crust in the business. You want to work to the point where people recognize that you can go on stage with the best of the best in the business. That's why you do the work.
No, I also heard you say you don't have an issue with Major Hype, and Major Hype did say what I got from his clip, that he doesn't have an issue with you as well. So is it then that it is just a misunderstanding that can easily be rectified, since your mantra is Caribbean unification, and his too? Is this something that can be resolved easily?
I don't see to me, there's no big, when he said resolved or rectified, I don't know what's there to be rectified. If Major is upset for some reason, and he really needs to clear it up on his own. Again, when you look at what I do, for instance, Kishima, I'm a developer of comic and comedians in Jamaica. I run Jamaica's only open mic stand-up comedy club. I am very much passionate about giving comedians a space and improving the quality and the standard of stand-up comedy in Jamaica. Through that one movement, that has spawned so many other great shows happening right now in Jamaica. There is local unity, for instance, in Jamaica. We are competitive, and that's a healthy thing in any environment, but we are unified as comics here in Jamaica. I'm doing Dufton Shepherd's show June 28th. I'm doing another show in Mandeville or Moby coming up soon. Locally, there's unity. I'm speaking on behalf of comics that I know from the Caribbean, and I can name them all. Who, when I said to them, "Are you getting on bad face? Who's the one?" I don't see. People don't have to. Either if a man said to me, "No, like Johnny," if a comic said him don't like Johnny, but I'm booked on a show with the comic, you think me not gonna go? You think me not gonna? I'm not gonna try and tell a man say, "Oh, him can't book him and me on the same show." He's booked for the show. I'm coming to do my job. You're coming to do your job. I don't have to like you. We'd have the same set. We'd have to be on the stage together. You know what I mean? I'm a professional. I'm going to turn up, do my job, and go back to my hotel room, sleep, and go back to my yard.
In all fairness, though, before I go to this time signal, I do believe that it's an epic case of misunderstanding, because in all truth, I did not get that he was coming at Christopher Johnny Daly. He was just expressing that based on his point of view, he felt like there is a lack of unity among Caribbean comics. Similarly, if somebody say to me, is there unity in the dancehall? Even though there may be a handful of dancehall entertainers who may feel like they are unified, in my professional opinion, I can say that the dancehall industry lacks unity. But somebody may look at it differently.
I totally disagree with that. That's what I'm clearly stating.
We're going to come back, though, Johnny. We're going to come back. I have to go to a time signal, and then we come back, though.
Every we need a rare. Rare room for JA. Purchase Rare Nephew this summer and enter the Every we Needs a Rare promotion.
The time is... It is now 1:24. If you're just joining us, we are on the road to success. Johnny, you were saying that you would disagree with that statement.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it suggests that somehow we're not ready for a level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What are you saying when you say there's Caribbean disunity among who? Like, who are the comics? Since you're good with everybody, because that's, if you listen to the statement, him saying good with everybody. He is good with everybody. Who are the everybody's? Yeah, if you're good with everybody, then what's the problem? You know what I mean? Why is it that we can't come together as comics in the Caribbean to have a show that you suggested, Kashima? What's stopping us from doing a show? What's stopping the most known comics, the comics that actually do stand-up comedy, from doing a show celebrating stand-up comedy on a big stage? Nothing is stopping that outside of the logistics and the funding and somebody to actually make it happen.
And as we move away from this point, in your opinion, Caribbean comics are unified?
As a comedian I live in the Caribbean, I work in the Caribbean. This is my home here. This is the space I occupy. I'm in touch right now with other comics from across the region, from the Bahamas to Trinidad and Tobago to Guyana to Barbados. And I can tell you that that's not the impression out there from many comics. All of us are questioning that statement. We're saying, wow, where's the disunity that you speak of? Because we don't feel like disunity.
Okay. No, let's talk about your radio job because you're also on the radio. I mean, you wear multiple hats, many, many hats. And how I want to phrase this question though is like social media, or what many people are now calling, new media, has significantly changed how traditional media operates. How do you view that shift, and especially from your experience, in traditional media over the years? Broadcasting and entertainment.
I mean, that's so true. But it's a necessary shift. I think, radio has remained for so long. I mean, let's talk about radio, right? Radio is almost the king of communication because it has existed for so long. So even with all the improvements in communication, social media, the things, the phone, the gadgets, radio is still relevant today. Right now, we're on a radio station. So radio is still very much in the space, and is important in the space. If we have a hurricane tomorrow, most people are gonna find a radio. It's a radio and a cell phone. We're gonna try and get some information from. If you want information from your government, you're gonna try and get a radio. And if you want to find a family member, you use a cell phone. So radio is still dominant in the space. What I think we need to do is to continue to evolve in the space. Radio has evolved. There was a time when there was TV with a radio on it. Now we have radio on an app, so you put that on your phone. So to me, radio is maintaining. It's a lot of work needs to go into making it more attractive to a younger generation, so that it still matters. But if you keep it in the space, if you keep it relevant, if you keep attracting people, and show them the importance of having it, I think radio will continue to be in the space. And so, traditional TV, it might be different. I think the way people, when you're talking about viewing something, I can view something now on any device, anywhere. So that's how I think TV has changed. But I think radio is still a very powerful medium. When you look at, for instance, the fact that podcasting is still audio, they still have a lot of audio podcasting is being sold and distributed around the world. A lot of comedians, for instance, still do audio tapes. They just don't have records anymore, but they put it out on iTunes, for instance, as your audio comedic tape. So audio, listening to something is still very much relevant. And that's why I think radio still has a place.
Now, has cancel culture, in your opinion, made comedians afraid to be truly funny?
I think some, if you're afraid, if you don't understand what your job is as a comedian, if you're not working on your craft to be as creative as you can, so that you can still say the things that you want to say. Because the truth is, as a stand-up comedian, it is important sometimes to adjust to your environment. Not all the time you have to be combative with a space or decide that you're going to, just be so indifferent with your audience that you and them your job is to make people laugh. Your job is to bring joy. So if I'm hired to go into a space, and even if I feel so strongly against something, I'm just not going to take the job. I'm just not going to go. But if I'm hired to go into a space that I know, all right, I might not agree with everything that's being said to me here, but that's not my job. My job is to make these people laugh. It's just 20 minutes, 30 minutes. That's my job. I'm going to do my job and I'm going to leave. I might poke fun. I might use those very things that I find absurd or I disagree with to create humor, to get some ums and some ahs and some whoas, because that's also a part of my job. But I'm not going to offend the space. I think the fact that I took the job means that I'm ready to deliver what I'm there to deliver.
Now, listening to you, acting, comedy, producer, radio, how are you able to balance all of that? And tell us about Christopher Johnny Daly, the family man.
Thank you very much. I have a great team. That's a great, easy way to segue to that. My wife is my business partner. She literally has assisted me, my company, to be where it is today. We're real troopers together. She believed from day one in this movement. And so Johnny Live Productions, which is the umbrella company that manages all my affairs, including Johnny Live Comedy Bar, including myself, because there's a booking side of the company who manage comedians as well. Listen, it's not easy to navigate all of this by yourself. And I'm a creative at heart and a purist, and I may know a little bit about managing something, carrying something from start to finish, but I don't know it all. And so I have relied on her corporate knowledge, on her knowledge of business, to assist me to ensure that my back office business is run properly, that the tax office now run me down, that lawyers now drag me through the coal. Because if you're going to do business, you're going to do it properly, that we're fully registered as a company. And so we can deal with corporate companies and other entities, whether it be local or international. You need that kind of support. Some people find it, by hiring people from outside. I was fortunate enough to marry someone who understands what I needed and kind of, made that happen for me. And I'm thankful for that. Outside of that, we've over the years, we've gotten so much help from people, members of the staff that support us at Johnny Life Productions. People that we rely on, some young people, some people help to make sure that the comedy bar runs, even when I'm not there. And so it takes a village, As a family man, I can tell you I'm so grateful to have 3 lovely children who, even though them test me and they're testing me from day one, I'm blessed. My eldest is 25.
Oh, wow.
My eldest is 25. Going to be 25 the 21st of this month. He's not 25, he's 24 now. So he's 24 now, gonna be 25 this month. My daughter is 22, and she's just awesome. She's at the University of she's at UTech right now, completing a IT BA, and my son is at Arden High School, my youngest, who is 15, and he's fantastic. He joined the drama club recently, and he's having some fun there too. I don't know if he's going to pursue that because he's also very much into science and business. So I'm grateful. I'm really grateful that my children are thriving and that they know themselves and they're their own people and own personalities.
Wow, amazing. Happy Father's Day when it comes on Sunday.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, daddy extraordinary. Me see you blush and a lit up when you're talking about your kids.
No, because I'm so blessed. And when you just have to give thanks because, my children could be different people. You know what I mean? My children could be smart and be brats. And I really can't describe them like that. It would be, my son is a hard worker. He does MMA fighting. He started when he was early. He's just really trying to do all the things he can in the area of fitness and so on. And my daughter really helps me out. She's like a young guru now, taking over aspects of the business as well and kind of just inserting herself into making sure that she shows her value. I'm so pleased with them.
Wow, job well done to you and wifey. And finally, I don't know where the time went. We are so out of time, but what advice would you give to young Caribbean creatives trying to build global careers?
Yeah, you just mentioned the word there, global careers. So you have to give yourself every opportunity to be at the global standard. There are levels to this thing, levels to everything. And so it's important for you to get the level of training or the level of certification that is required to put yourself in a position where you're ready. In our business, sometimes the opportunities, they come quick and fast. And if you're not ready to take them up, if you're not in shape, you're going to lose out. Oftentimes it's because you take too long to say yes, or you take too long to show up. So get ready. We still have some fantastic places in Jamaica that foster your growth. I still tell people, if you're interested, go to school, get involved in something, get involved in a club, volunteer. Don't just say you want to do something and don't move on it. Volunteer, get involved. And when you do that, you expand yourself, you expand your knowledge, be hungry to learn. I find that people nowadays, you want to do something because you do a YouTube class one time, you know it. No, you don't know it. Spend the time to fail in it. Spend the time to try and fail and improve yourself. Like I said, get the requisite training if you can. But if you can't, still practice makes perfect, and you can still practice somehow. So take the time to really build up yourself. And when you do that, give yourself every opportunity to make it. Self-determination, self-drive is important. And know your worth. know your worth. The no is a complete sentence. No is a complete sentence. Understand that what that means fully. And the last thing I'd say is understand that history is created now. In nowadays, history is now. We're creating history today. And what people say or do about you, back in the day, something people said, don't say anything. Sometimes you don't have to say anything. Sometimes your work and worth will speak for itself. But sometimes when you have to correct your friends, you have to do that. Sometimes when you have to stand up for your team members and yourself, you have to do that. Sometimes when you have to set the record straight, you do that. And it's important sometimes to represent yourself fully.
Wow, I think you have said it all. You have said it all. Christopher Johnny Daly, this was absolutely amazing. Things happen the way they should. And absolutely. I definitely believe in that this was your time to be on, to share your story with our listeners and, continue doing you and continue being great.
Big up yourself, Kishima Francis Pitt. And I hope that somehow we'll get to the point where people will come to the Caribbean. We invite all the comics from overseas. Once you're a comic and you're in the business of comedy, you love what you do, come to the Caribbean. We're ready to accommodate you with shows right now.
Amazing. Christopher Johnny Daly, thank you so much. That's our time. We're going to go for a break. Do not go anywhere. Stick and stay.
Get cash now by returning your Red Stripe flavors, Heineken, Malta, Dragon, and Guinness bottles. The time by Red Stripe is...
It is now 1:37.
For 25 years, Digicel has been keeping Jamaica better connected. From late night calls to the texts, clicks, and moments that keep us close.
Hi, babes.
A network built in Jamaica for Jamaicans. But connection has never been just about the network. It's about the people behind every hello.
Yo, my general. Wagwan.
Celebrating 25 years. Digicel, powered by you, connected by us.
It's game on at Quartz. Spend $150